The crossing with the first ferry went very smooth. However, we encountered some problems at this crossing. The edge of the ferry ramp looks very sharp and in the wrong position, so I suddenly brake at the wrong place and we get stuck. We are Evelyn and Ferenc. Follow us on our adventures as we share our overland trips from all around the world. There are two ferries on the Dempster Highway. This is the first one and they are both free. I guess since everything just freezes for half a year here, there is no concrete landing or concrete ramp on, just basically soil and gravel that they keep maintaining on the other side right now. We're waiting now because they're maintaining on the other side with big machines and stuff. And of course it's not concrete or anything because the whole road is just gravel everywhere. Yeah, so this is the first ferry crossing on the Dempster Highway. McPherson. We just want to see how the town looks on the Dempster Highway. I don't think it looks like a town that we would regularly consider a town. This is literally the ramp for the ferry and they just maintain it, I guess, on a daily basis because it gets washed out fairly often, especially in the springtime, I would say. But there is no permanent concrete landing and ramp on. It's just these two gravel ramps. The ferry is on the other side, so we will embark onto the ferry here, and even the big trucks and everybody else. We've been waiting for quite a bit for the ferry to arrive, and now it's finally coming. So this is the McKenzie River, which is the largest river nobody really knows about, including me. Up until this point. The crossing with the first ferry went very smooth. However, we encountered some problems at this crossing. The edge of the ferry ramp looks very sharp and in the wrong position, so I suddenly brake at the wrong place and we get stuck. few stressful minutes passed before I engaged four-wheel drive and managed to crawl onto the ferry, probably entertaining everyone behind us. On the other side, the captain has some issues as well with the landing of the ferry at the right spot. I guess the currents of the McKenzie River doesn't make his job very easy. Once we get off the ferry, we are really happy to see our friends Chris and Rick for a moment.
How are you? I know. I'm lucky it's four-wheel drive. See you later.
So we are very up north in Canada. We are in the Northwest Territories in Inuvik, and we had such a terrible night because mosquitoes were everywhere. Seriously, we don't know where they found a gap, but somehow they did. They were just coming in. So we couldn't sleep until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and after that we just fell asleep because we were so exhausted after a long day of driving. But the mosquitoes are not just the only issue here, because the sun is shining all night and it's bright constantly. And also the Dempster Highway is so beautiful, but because the Dempster Highway is unpaved, it's a dirt road, and so the dust is constantly coming into the car because the dust is so fine. You can taste it, you can smell it, so you cannot do anything about it, seriously. But yesterday was very adventurous, and yeah, that's the part of the game. I mean, this is the van life, so not what you see on Instagram with the beautiful photos. This is the real life, seriously. But we are really enjoying it because the scenery is beautiful, as I mentioned, and we met lovely people on the road. But I just forgot to mention that we were quite shocked that the temperature is quite hot. Not just the heat, but you know, the humidity as well. So it's very humid here because there are lots of lakes around. So it's very humid, very warm, surprisingly very warm. And yeah, we are going to Tuktoyaktuk today, which is 154 kilometers away. So it's gonna take us, I think, 3 or 4 hours to get there. Yeah, and we just can't wait to see the end of the road.
I'm just trying to dust-proof the van from the back. I don't think it's gonna work using just duct tape, but I'm trying anyway. There's so much fine dust going in, and who knows, maybe it's gonna help with the mosquitoes as well, because somewhere they find a gap and they're coming in to ruin our night. We're just after Inuvik, which is basically the continuation of the Dempster Highway. I'm not sure if this is actually called the Dempster Highway. I think it's just called the Inuvik to Tuktoyaktuk Highway. It's actually 4:30 in the afternoon, but it's really difficult to tell. We really have to look at our watches to tell what the time is, because the sun is constantly up. It's very disturbing after a while because we couldn't sleep last night. We will spend one night in Tuktoyaktuk. When I say night, it's gonna be sunshine. That will be very interesting. There's a lot of bikers and a lot of adventure vehicles around here, and everybody's really like waving at each other. We've seen quite a few flat tires as well. There were warning signs along the way saying that you need to have proper and good spare tires and good tires, and I thought this was just one of those cautious warnings for people who are not really prepared. but it's actually true. We've seen at least 5 vehicles with flat tires. I guess all these sharp little rocks on the road are affecting the tires, and we are a bit paranoid right now about the tires because we had 2 flats at the same time. We're running a bit lower pressures than usually. That helps on the corrugations, and it helps on sharp rocks as well. So in worse conditions, lower tire pressures are better most of the time. It's another 130 kilometers, something like 80 miles to Tuktoyaktuk. We're really looking forward to seeing how is a community on the Arctic Ocean, and hope to see grizzlies. No grizzlies at all yet. Maybe even polar bears on the coast in the Arctic, who knows. Where we're gonna sleep, we don't know. And if we're gonna sleep, because it's very humid, it's very hazy, but it's just really bright all day and all night. Of all places here, the engine is not starting. When you let your attention slip, when you stop focusing, that's when disaster can happen. I don't look ahead for a couple of seconds and we go off the road into the bush.